Love Island's Tasha reaction proves there's a lot to learn about deaf representation. The model and dancer is the show's first deaf contestant. Love Island's producers would perhaps like us to believe they are showcasing love in all its forms by casting its first deaf contestant, but the representation is tragically one-dimensional. Tasha Gori, 23, is a deaf model and dancer and uses a cochlear implant in her right ear, which essentially simulates the sensation of hearing inside the skull, specifically the cochlea, if you remember the snail-like bone from your secondary school biology classes. Yet in contrast to arguably one of the most prominent instances of deaf representation in recent months, that being EastEnders' Rose Ayling-Ellis lifting the Strictly Trophy in December, Love Island's representation feels throwaway and tokenistic. That's before you address the fact the ITV2 dating series comes without subtitles when watching live on the ITV Hub app. At the time of writing, live subtitles are only available on the ITV Hub website. Back on day one, Tasha gathered the Islanders around the fire pit to inform them she's deaf, wears a cochlear implant and views it as her superpower, a view to which she is entitled but to which many other deaf people don't subscribe. While it's unclear how much, if at all, she was prodded into doing this, it encouraged cringeworthy responses such as, "I would not have had a clue," by Luca in the Beach Hut, and, "We are all here to support her no matter what she's going through." The remarks underscore a lot of what followed on social media in the days and weeks after the first episode. If deaf people aren't singing and dancing about their deafness every minute of every day, or worse, visibly struggling, then are they really deaf? Ignorant comments from viewers soon followed suit, questioning how Tasha could be deaf if she can hear and speak so well. One tweet, seen before it was promptly deleted by its author, suggested the Islander was lying about her deafness in order to win sympathy votes. These remarks simply fail to acknowledge the fact that deafness is not a monolithic condition, but rather a spectrum. There is not one single way to present as deaf. Not every deaf person has what's known as a deaf accent when they speak, and it's not a binary of completely deaf and hearing. Audiologists use the scale of mild, moderate, severe and profound. If a person is somewhere on that scale after having a hearing test, then they're deaf. That's it. Just because Tasha heard what another Islander was saying about the new boy who's wandered into the villa or whatever, that doesn't erase her identity. She may have picked it up through her cochlear implant, or used lip reading, essentially a form of guesswork, to ascertain what the conversation was about. Equally, deaf people don't want your sympathy, especially not the kind given to Tasha by fellow Islanders around the fire pit. We want your understanding, acceptance and allyship. Clearly, reaction to Tasha's time on Love Island so far demonstrates we still have a long way to go in that respect. Not least because it shows society still has a one-size-fits-all approach to deafness and its representation on screen. To be deaf, in the common view, is to only communicate using British Sign Language, BSL, to wear some form of hearing technology, and to have a strong deaf accent. Any deviation from this archetype, compounded by the success of recent movies such as Sound of Metal and Coda, and the validity of your deafness could well be called into question. The unfortunate coincidence of discussing this within the context of Love Island, a series which continues to cement the harmful, singular view of beauty, which is thin, athletic, tanned and so on, isn't lost on us, either. Anyone outside of this narrow perception is dumped faster than litter by a fly tipper. The solution to the limited view of deafness, as with beauty as a whole, is just as obvious as the problem. We need to widen the pool of representation to demonstrate the diversity of experiences. Let hearing people understand it isn't a condition which only affects older people, or which only presents itself in BSL, or which only exists in a ridiculous binary of completely deaf and hearing. With TV shows like Love Island, hearing people will only compare deaf representation to other prominent examples they've seen on their screens before. But when a film or TV series dares to break the mold, for want of a better phrase, and show a different experience to what we've seen before, then it's much harder for that harmful cycle of poor deaf awareness to repeat itself. Society, the deaf community and indeed the entertainment industry would be a whole lot better for it, too. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe my channel and press bell icon button for more videos.